Hi, everybody. It's Friday, and just want to challenge you to think carefully because, as mature believers, one of the things that we read in Scripture is that we develop the ability to discern truth from a lie, to discern good from evil. And that's what we find in Hebrews chapter 5:14, where there we read, "Solid food is for the mature, who by constant use have trained themselves to distinguish good from evil." Now, when we look at that, one of the things that's important is knowing how to test the truth. And, basically there are three tests that we can do for truth. And let me just, I'll tell you what, let's reverse this. Let me mention, first of all, the tests that don't work, okay? Because I want to give you 7 tests that don't work. First of all, there's the test of tradition. That just says, this must be true because I've always thought it was true. And it's what my mother believed and my father believed and my grandparents believed, so it must be true. Tradition is not a valid test of truth. The second way that people inappropriately test truth is by numbers. And we say, well, so many people believe it, it must be true. And that's really kind of a measure of popularity. You know, if it's a popular opinion, it must be true. But that's also a bad test of truth. Some people test truth by their feelings. And they say, I'm just feeling like it's true. But our feelings can deceive us. Some people use a test of truth of wishing and wanting. You know, I just want it to be true. And when that happens, it's easy for us to deceive ourselves, to kind of create truth out of the fabric of our own mind. And it doesn't do a very good job of creating truth. Sometimes, we can look at something and we can just sort of guess at it. And we say, well, it sort of seems true. And then we stop searching because it just seems true. That's a pretty poor test as well. The sixth poor test for truth is the test of pragmatism. It says, well, it works, so it must be true. Now, if you have a guilty conscience and you just say, well, I'm going to change my definition of sin, and now I feel better. Well, that may work, but it's still a lie, okay? So pragmatism is not a great test for truth. Last of all, some people use a test for truth of significance. And if this makes me feel good and important and significant, well, then it must be true because it makes me feel important. Those are all 7 of the wrong measures and tests of truth. I want us, though, to think about 3 positive tests for truth that you can look at and test truth and discern it in your own life. Those 3 arguments, one writer identifies them as logical consistency, empirical adequacy, and experiential relevance. Now, basically, that's just saying, is it logical, is it factual, and is it livable? And I think those are some good questions to ask. Well, is it logical? When Sue, my wife, was small, her sister ate some pie off the back porch that was intended for a Thanksgiving dinner. And her dad lined all the kids up and said, what happened to this pie? And at one point, the youngest, Nancy, if you're watching, said, a lion ate it. Well, that may not be totally logical, okay? So you can kind of test that truth if you know that there are not a lot of lions roaming the woods around your home that like pie, by the way. So that aspect of internal coherence, is it logical? The second thing that we see is external correspondence. Is it factual? Does it fit the facts? And one of the tests of truth is, does it fit the facts that are on hand right here? And if If we say we are created in God's image, well then, to fit the facts, when we begin to act in love and caring, we are acting consistently with the fact of our design for creation in the way God has made us. But just testing the facts can be important. You know, if I, say that I was walking down the street and a spaceship sucked me up in some light beam and I went to the planet Pluto, you know, it's not terribly factual, okay? And you can read that right away. You know, but the third area that I think is also important is an area that is referred to as functional adequacy. And that's, can you live it? You know, and at times we try to live in philosophies and opinions that just don't work. You know, people say all of life, you know, is an illusion. And yet, you know what? If all of life is an illusion, nobody says, in that case, I don't have to look two ways to cross the street. So even the person who says all of life is an illusion always looks both ways when they cross. You see, it's maybe an opinion, but you can't live within that opinion. You know, the law of non-contradiction is also a law that points to something as to whether it's livable. You know, truth cannot contradict itself, or it can't be true. You know, to say I am here and I am there contradict each other, and only one can be true. And so those are some tests that I think we can look at, and I hope those are helpful to you for coming to maturity in your faith, where you can discern the truth from a lie, the truth from opinion, good from evil, and all those things that we are called to do as discerning believers in Jesus Christ. Anyway, have a good weekend. I hope it's a great one. I hope things calm down. Bye for now. God bless.